What's up, Summoners? It's your boy Skinner, and today I've partnered with Southside Gaming to bring you an in-depth look on how to play one of the most exciting TCG releases coming out this year, Riftbound. So whether you're a Teemo main in League of Legends, a die-hard Arcane fan, or just looking for something new to play, Riftbound combines all your favorite characters into a fun and competitive new way to share your love for the Summoner's Rift. Today, we'll be walking you through a full game in real time, but first, I wanted to go over the basics of the game and the different card types you could expect to see. In Riftbound, you and your opponent will fight over different battlefields in a King of the Hill style gameplay. Players score points by either conquering or holding battlefields, and the first player to 8 wins the game. First up are runes. Each color brings different strategies and advantages to match many play types. You will include 12 runes in your rune deck that will be your resources throughout the game to play the cards in your deck. You can split the colors in any quantity you'd like to suit the needs of your deck, as long as you stay within the one of two of your Legends colors. Speaking of which, these are your Legends. Just like runes, Legends are not a card inside your deck, but rather an avatar that represents what rune colors your deck is allowed to have. You can only include cards in your deck that match the rune color of your legend. Each legend also provides a unique ability that is exclusive to that legend, many of which can be quite powerful. Next up are units. Units are one of 3 main card types that will be included in your main deck. Units represent the characters and monsters found in the world of Runeterra. Many of your favorite characters are units known as champions. Champions all have the same restrictions that a normal unit would have. However, one copy of a champion that matches your legend must be placed in your champion zone when the game starts. The champion in that zone is in that zone until it is played, so it's available to you in every game no matter what cards you draw. This means your main deck will actually have 39 cards at the start of the game. Next up are spells. Spells represent the powerful abilities that will help you in your battle against your opponent. There are 3 different speeds for a spell. First is a normal spell. These can be played during the main phase of your turn, but cannot be played during combat or to respond to your opponent's effects. Next up are action speed spells. These can also be used during your main phase, but in addition, they can be used in combat to start a chain, but they cannot be used to react to a spell. And then last up, we have reactions. These spells can be played at the same time as all the previous spells, but can also be used as a reaction to abilities or spells. These are the fastest spells in the game and can catch your opponent off guard when they are trying to play one of their powerful spells or abilities. The last card type you'll be including in your main deck are gears. Gears don't have combat stats like units, but they do have abilities that can be used as long as the gear remains in play. So let's recap. We have our rune deck, we have our legend, we have our 39 card main deck, and our 1 champion in the champion zone. Only thing left to do is fight over some battlefields. When constructing your deck, you will need to choose 3 battlefields that match the strategy of your deck. Battlefields are not included in your main deck, but are chosen at the start of each game. You will choose one battlefield, and so will your opponent. Then after game 1, you will choose a different battlefield from the remaining battlefields. If this match goes to a 3rd game, then you guys get to use your final battlefields. I know this might seem like a lot of information, but I think it'll make way more sense when you see it in action. So let's do that. I am joined by my good friend, Mr. Ghosty. He's going to be joining me today and teaching you guys how to play the game. And we've been loving the game so far, so I think you're really going to enjoy it. Ghosty's going to be playing Yasuo today, and I will be playing Victor. So Ghosty, if you don't mind, just give us a little bit of a breakdown of what Yasuo's strategy revolves around.
Yeah. So for starters, we've got the Yasuo Legend, which is going to lock us into purple and green, or Calm and Chaos, actually, right? Calm is the green. His legend ability is really powerful. I can essentially pay 2 energy and exhaust him to move any of my characters to or from a battlefield, which lets me get in extra movement. Then in the champion zone, we've got Yasuo, who is just a really powerful attacker. He gets to do extra damage whenever he attacks. So he gets a ton of value out of these like extra movements and things. And the deck itself is kind of just filled with all sorts of tricky combat spells and things like that. Like the signature spell Last Breath, which lets me ready a friendly unit and then have it deal damage equal to its might to a chosen enemy unit.
Jack, what is a signature spell?
Hey, that's a great question. So signature spells are really powerful spells that can only be put into a deck when their legend is your legend, essentially. So this is Yasuo's signature spell, meaning that even if we were playing a different green-purple deck, You can't include Last Breath in your deck unless Yasuo is your legend.
It's like his finisher, right? So each character has their own ultimate, if you will, if you play League of Legends.
Yeah, we've just got all sorts of other combat tricks in here. Like Discipline is a great one to give a unit additional might and draw a card. And then we've got counter spells and, just all sorts of things to keep
counter spells, Jack. We have counter spells in this game.
We sure do.
Oh boy!
And this deck has multiple counter spells, which is kind of crazy.
So I'll be playing Victor. Victor's strategy is a little different than Yasuo's. He essentially has a swarm strategy, right? So Victor's legend ability does allow me to exert it and pay 1 cost, and I create a 1/1 token in play, right? So these little robots that come in here, it does come into play exhausted, as we mentioned earlier. Everything in this game mostly comes in exhausted, but it's really just about amassing as many of these robots as I can, continuing to build them up, and essentially you're just like death by 1,000 cuts. You're just trying to get in there, poke at the opponent, buff up your little 1/1s. If they die, you don't really care because they're just 1/1s, and just kind of have to swarm the board, and you'll see a lot more of that as the game goes on here. So yeah, I think that pretty much break down the strategy. So let's get into some games and show you what it looks like in motion.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
All right, we got ourselves an 8. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Ooh, not on camera.
All right, I guess I'll go first.
You will go first. So there actually is a little bit of a different process whether you go first or second in this game. So when Jack starts his turn, we'll get into that. But there is actually a pretty good benefit to going second. I know a lot of games, if you go second, it may be detrimental, but this game I think does a great job of balancing out the player that goes second. So we'll do our friendly cuts here, because Jack does cheat. We got to be careful with him. And then we will choose our location. So let's see which one I want to go with here. I'm going to choose this one. So they'll go face down. So he doesn't know which one I chose. I don't know which one he chose. And then we will draw our hands. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 4 is the starting hand. You do draw on your first turn and on the second turn, but 4 is the number of cards you want to start with. And then you can only mulligan 2 cards, up to 2 cards. So you can't pitch the whole 4 back, only up to 2, which we'll do right now. Jack's already resolved his. I'm gonna send 1 back here. So something that's pretty unique in this game, there's no shuffle after the mulligan. So you're gonna put the card at the bottom of the deck, draw a card to replace it, and no shuffle. Very important, okay? And I think we're ready to go. So let's flip our locations here. So Jack has one that says units here have ganking. So we will explain what ganking means in just a moment. And mine says units here have +1 might, which we'll also get into in just a bit here. So
there's a, what's the word? A mnemonic device basically for remembering the start of the turn. And it's like, know your ABCs, right? Like, so you start with the awaken phase, which means that we would ready all of our stuff. Right now I don't have any stuff to do for that, obviously. Then there's a B that stands for something.
is it battlefield or
it might be
something? I know it's when your points are claimed, right?
Yeah. So again, nothing to happen there. But then the C is channel, which means that I'm going to channel some runes here.
So every turn we'll start with 2 cards off the top of the rune deck, which will provide you your resources. If you go second, you actually get 3 runes on the first turn. And Jack, did you draw your card for turn as well?
Oh, right.
That's the D.
Sorry. So I did the channel and then I.
So ABCD. So channel and then draw. And then Jack is ready to play out his turn.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, I'm rune screwed right off the bat. No. So I'm going to pass to you.
All right. So Jack can't play anything in his current hand. So we'll pass back to me. So being the player that's going second, I will be getting 3 runes this time. So we'll do 1, 2, 3. And you can see I have different colors. Unfortunately, Jack got stuck with just 1 color there. So that did affect his turn. But I will go ahead and start the game by playing 2 and playing myself a Watchful Sentry. So something very important to note, every card has a cost, right? The cost is going to be located in the top left corner, and that's how many cards you need to exhaust, how many runes you need to exhaust to play it. However, it does not matter what color they are. So you can tap 2 blue for this, you can go ahead and exhaust a yellow and a blue, whatever you want to do, 2 yellow to play this, because this has no specific color requirement. There are cards that we're going to be playing later that do have specific color requirements, but as far as right now, this one does not. And then this one has an ability called Death Knell. So when this card dies, I will be drawing myself a card. So this ability only activates when it dies, And then it does come into play exhausted, right? There's a couple different zones here. Right now, it's kind of hard to tell, but this is a base, right? So this is like your home plate, your home turf. And this is where most of the cards that you play in this game will start. Okay, there are some exceptions, but generally speaking, they will start in your base. And as we mentioned, everything comes into play exhausted unless it's a gear. Gear is a very specific item, or a very specific card type, rather. So I will play my sentry in here. And then I do have one still available. So I'm actually going to use that one to activate my Legends ability. And the Legend will allow me to make a 1/1 token. So I will put it in the base as well. And I can't do anything else with my turn. So I'll pass it back over to Jack.
It's funny. It's just a 1 token, though. In Magic or Arcana, we have more stats. But
I'm
in
used to
this,
saying
it's just the 1.
but it's just 1. Yeah. So the might, there's no health in this game. The health and the power are one and the same here. So yeah, I got to get you a little used to that. But just 1. Looks like you got yourself some colors.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I really needed it last turn.
Okay. Talk to me. What does that do?
Wielder of Water. So he's got 2 might, but while he's attacking or defending alone, he'll get +2 additional might.
Okay, so he likes to go solo dolo. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else to do with that one resource you have left?
Sadly, no. So we'll pass to you.
All right. So we'll go ahead and do our awaken phase. So everything gets stood up. We'll take everything and ready it. Okay, and then we have our scoring. There's nothing at the battlefields yet, so no scores. And then we do our runes. So I already did 3 for the first turn, but every other turn after that, it's just 2. So now we go back to each turn. Okay, so that brings me up to 5. So as you can see, I hit 5 before Jack hits 5, but Jack hits 4 before I hit 4. So there's incentive to going first or second. If maybe one of your key cards in your deck is a 5-drop, you might want to go second. That way on your second turn, you have 5 runes instead of 4 if you would have gone first. So there are some different incentives.
Or even just 3 on turn 1.
Exactly. Or 3 massive. Or 3 on turn 1, or maybe, you have a combination of things like a 2-drop and a 1-drop you want to play. So there's a lot of different reasons why you might want to go second. But so we'll go ahead, and now that these are ready, they are able to do a couple different things. So by exhausting any amount of characters, I can choose to move them into a battlefield, right? So I can choose to either move 1 character, I can move both characters, I can move 1, and then a little later I can move 2. So however you want to do it, the turn is very free. It's kind of like a loose turn. Nothing is specific in terms of phases. You can go into combat and then come back, play stuff, go back into combat. So there's, very loosely organized turn. So we're going to start off with moving in my soldier, my recruit rather, into this battlefield. So what this does is it creates something that we call a showdown, right? So a showdown is a window of opportunity for me and Jack to exchange spells. So if Jack had something here for the one that he has left over that would be able to either kill or remove this, I would not be able to score a point because I lost all the units before we conquered the battlefield, right? So currently, Jack, I am trying to conquer this battlefield. You have 1 resource available. Do you have any plays before I conquer?
Nope.
All right. So I have nothing. Jack has nothing. So I will score the first point. So I am at 1. The object of the game is to get to 8. Seems pretty simple, right? But there are some exceptions and we'll get into them later. So now that I've taken over this battlefield, I cannot choose to get another point, right? Once a battlefield has been scored, it can only be scored 1 time on that turn. It cannot be repeatedly scored. So if you were thinking about choosing your opponent and trying to just get in there over and over, you can't do it. So stop cheating. All right. So we're going to use this other guy here and we're going to move him into the other resource, or the other battlefield rather. I will pass priority to Jack. Jack has an opportunity to do something if he can, but he cannot. So I will score. So I have 2 points this turn and I have scored both battlefields, which means although I can still move guys into it if I had other units to play, I cannot score on these battlefields again. Okay. So now they're both moved in, I can go back to my main phase because as I said, you could play the turn however you like. And the cool thing is now that I control these battlefields, I can choose to play the units to my base or directly to the battlefield that I control, right? So that's very, very powerful. Sometimes it's better to keep them at your base because it allows you to prep for a following attack the next turn. But sometimes you just want to load in your characters into the base, right? Try to just stack it up and make a huge defense. So I'm going to choose here to actually pay 4, and I'm going to play my champion. All right. So this is Victor. Victor comes in for 4. But there is something different about him. He has this little yellow symbol underneath his number. And the little yellow symbol is very, very important. It is indicative of his power cost. Power cost is a special kind of payment that you do in this game where you pay the 4 of his normal cost first, and then you have to do something called recycle. Recycle will tell you what color it is. So this is a yellow, and I will have to take one of my yellow, and it could have been one of the ones that I exhausted, so you don't have to use a ready one. And then it has to go to the bottom of my rune deck, right? So I am losing essentially a resource to play Victor, okay? But do remember, you get 2 at the beginning of your turn. So it kind of offsets, but if you're looking to play a deck that's ramping and trying to get to big costs, keep in mind that these runes are gonna set you back a little bit, okay? So Victor is gonna come into my base. Victor is a card that kind of wants to hang out in the background and watch the other characters fight, right? I don't wanna put him in the line of combat. So Victor's going to hang out at my base, and Victor does say if one of my non-recruits dies, so anything but the robots, he creates a robot in the base. Okay, so very, very important. And I've done everything I could do with my turn. Oh, actually, I have one left. So let's make another robot, right? And as I mentioned, because I control these locations, I can place stuff straight to them. So I'm actually going to put another robot here, and those 2 will hold down. Since this area says each unit gets +1 might, it incentivizes me to load into that because each of my robots is actually a 2 might instead of a 1 might. So that's everything I was able to do with my turn. And Jack, it's on you.
All right, so do that. Channel, getting all the green.
All the green.
Wanted on turn 1.
Money, money, money. People love green. So talk to me, Jack. What are you thinking about here?
Well, so I'm actually gonna, first things first, we're gonna just tap these 2, exhaust.
Okay.
We'll use Yasuo's legend ability to move my wielder of water into the windswept hillock.
Perfect. And this does not cause it to exhaust, right?
Nope. Okay. Just tapping that to do it.
Perfect.
So this will move in. We'll have a showdown. Since he's attacking alone, he's actually going to be a 4 strength, not 2.
Right.
But either way, that does currently beat your 1.
Correct. Yeah. So there would be obviously a window opportunity to play spells here. I'm fully tapped out here, and Jack does have an option, but he has no real need, right? He's already winning the fight. So I'm just going to go ahead and let that happen. So this will knock him out. Okay. When this goes away, I activate this effect, which is to draw a card. So I will take that and draw my card. And then it activates Victor's effect, which whenever one of my non-units dies, I make a unit, right? So non-recruit, excuse me. So we'll play this here. Okay. So I did get a little something out of that trade. However, Jack did beat me up. He knocked me out of the location. And now Jack controls that location, right? Yep. 2 players cannot be at the location at the same time. So because Jack's the only one left, he scores the point and he's up to 1.
Then I'm going to exert Wielder of Water to move it because it's at the Windswept Hillock. It's got ganking.
Ooh.
So ganking is a keyword in this game that allows you to move directly from battlefield to battlefield. Normally, if I wanted to get my Wielder of Water over here, I would need to move it back to base and then move it over here. But because it's got ganking, I can just go straight like that.
Perfect. Pretty strong.
So Wielder of Water's got +2 from his ability here, and then +1 from the War Camp battlefield.
Ooh, so big
5 to your 4.
All right, so you're up again, and again, I'm all exhausted and spent. You have an option. Do you want to play anything else?
Good.
Nope. All right, so we'll resolve the combat. And again, just to explain the combat a little more, it's just the number versus the other number, right? So in some games, wielder might be attacking this guy in specific, or we might be double attacking. In this game, it's just the number versus the other number, and then you choose how you want the damage to be spread once you go to combat, right?
Yep.
So, for example, if there was another character here besides the wielder, I could choose to deal my 4 to that character or spread it how I want it. Because obviously this is the only option here. He's going to deal all 5, take out my guys. I do deal 4 back to him, but because he's a 4, he's stuck there. Or because he's a 5, rather, he sits around. And a cool thing about this game is as soon as the combat ends, the characters heal.
Yep.
So he's back up to a 5 now, and my characters are gone. So these guys are going to go over here somewhere. They're gone, and Jack scores another point. So Jack and I are tied 2 apiece. That wielder doing some work. All right, and you have 4 resources, Jack. Anything else for us?
I'm going to pay 2. We're going to float that energy. And then I'll play Seal of Focus.
Okay. Can
So
you
Seal of
explain
Focus,
the gear for us?
Yeah. So this is a gear. Unlike units, gear comes in ready. And this particular gear costs 0 energy, but does have a power cost of 1 green rune. So I'm going to float that 2 energy, recycle this, and then I will pay 2 for Clockwork Keeper. So we'll spend that 2 energy I had floating. And as you play me, you may pay 1 green rune as an additional cost. If you do, draw 1. So normally that would want me to recycle another one of these green runes, but because my Seal of Focus, I can exhaust this to add 1 green rune as power. So we'll do that. I'll draw a card.
So you're paying the power cost with the rune.
Yeah.
Got it. With the seal. And then question, I know you mentioned floating. For those who might not have been magic initiated, can you explain a little bit of what you mean by floating?
Yeah. So in this game, you can float energy, which essentially means that you are going to exhaust runes to generate that energy, but not spend it immediately. Right.
So it sits like in a pool, which is where the floating comes from, right?
And so in the case of something like the Seal of Focus, you want to generally float that energy because it costs 0 energy to play it, but it does still cost that rune, right? So if that rune wasn't already exerted, we want to try to get the most out of it before we utilize it for that cost.
Sounds good.
So yeah, we'll do that. And I'm actually, no, I guess it doesn't really matter. The Wielder of Water can kind of just chill by himself. All right, your turn.
All right, so it's back to my turn here. So I will awaken, and I will ready all my stuff here. Even the leader, even the legend rather, even gets awakened. All right, so now we will go to the rune deck. Give myself 2 brand new shiny runes here, and draw a card for turn. All right, so now I've got 6 runes, and I do have a few options. So let's see what I can do here. So we see that this battlefield is still empty. So if I choose, I can move a unit into that and get a free point, or presumably a free point. Jack could always respond. And then we have this one, which is blocked currently by a 5 power, right? So throwing this 1 in here is not going to do me any good. And throwing this 5 in here, it could do okay, but then he could just blow up my Victor if he chooses. And I don't know how I feel about that. So thinking it through here. And I think what I want to do is I'm going to send in my single unit here to kind of go do my work for me and try to take over this base. And at this point, a showdown is created. I choose to pass. I have no actions. Jack?
I will also pass priority.
You will also pass. Perfect. So we both pass. Therefore, I score the point. So I will go up to 3. We're getting there slowly but surely. And now we're going to add a new card type here. So I'm going to do something called a hidden card. So hidden cards, a little bit different than others. They have a normal cost, which you can play. However, they also have a ability called hidden. So what hidden does is it allows you to recycle a rune to put it face down at a location that you control. Very important. You have to control that location. And if you ever stop controlling that location, the hidden card has to be either flipped or removed, right? So I'm going to, since I control this location, I'm going to float this 1. So we have 1 blue floating in here in the abyss. And I'm going to use that blue to play a face down card here, a hidden card, right? And this goes to the bottom of my rune deck since I paid that as the energy cost. I still have Victor hanging out here in the background. I think he might stay there for now, but I will create another 1/1, or rather 1 token. I'm going to have to get used to just saying 1. And then I will pay 4 and play the Cruel Patron. So Cruel Patron, as an additional cost to play him, he does need me to sacrifice a character. Thankfully, Victor provides lots of those. So we'll go ahead and get rid of that. And we have a big 6-powered unit now, which is very nice. However, I can't move him in quite yet. I could
play him there.
I could choose to play him here. However, I'm happy to keep him here so that way maybe next turn I can plan an attack with him. Actually, now that I think about it, this is ganking as well, right? So I think I am actually going to play it here.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I forgot that this is ganking. So only reason I'm playing it here is because this location will allow me to jump from location. Otherwise, I would probably want to keep it in my base. So Victor, he's still going to hang out here, and we'll pass it back to Jack. So very important. This is one of the other ways to score in this game. We've mentioned so far conquering, but we haven't mentioned holding yet. So Jack, you want to get into explaining the holding?
Yeah. As we mentioned before, we've got the A, B, C, D start of turn process. So awaken, I'll ready all of my stuff. Then the B stands for beginning, and that's where we will do all of our beginning of turn things, one of which being this hold. So when you start a turn and you are currently controlling a battlefield, you score what's called a hold, which is you get a point, and then that point is kind of a special point in the fact that it can qualify for your final point. There are some restrictions on how you can score that final point, but holding is one of them. So, yeah, obviously not super relevant just now, but it does get me one step closer towards victory. So.
For sure. Yeah. So if you're able to hold it down, you get one. And those are the two main ways to score in this game. There are some specific cards that will specify that you can score a point by doing X and Y. But generally speaking, you score by either conquering on the attack or holding on the defense. All right, Jack, what do we got? Looks like you got a lot going on over there. So I'm a little scared.
The hidden card is problematic.
It's nothing, man. It's just,
All right. I'm going to pay for, hang on. Let's do this smart. First things first, I'm going to play another Clockwork Keeper. We'll tap that to pay for the extra cost.
Sure.
Then, yeah, I'll pay for Misfortune.
What does Misfortune do?
Purple. So I can play her to an open battlefield, which currently we have none of. And then now she has a passive effect. Friendly units can be played to open battlefields. So basically powerful. I can just skip right to battlefield. She's got 4 might.
Very nice. So yeah, she gets around the whole restriction of having to play to base before you can move. I like that. Very strong.
And then I'll pass to you.
Jack had the option here, since it is readied, if he wanted to go ahead and move it into his base, he could do so, but Jack's content with leaving him there, hanging in there. So we will start our turn with the Awaken. So we will ready everything up. And again, we will get our beginning step. So I do control this location. So that puts me up to 4. So I am at 4, Jack is at 3, and we will go ahead and get our runes. So 2 runes for the turn. And then we will draw a card. All right, Jack, I'm coming for you here, buddy. Let's see what we got. So I can't move all of my units out of here because I do have this hidden card. And as I mentioned earlier, if I ever stop controlling this battlefield for any point, for any reason, the hidden card will disappear, right? So let me decide what I want to do here. I think I might want to play a unit there first. That way, when I do move, I don't have any risk of losing it. So let me see. I will... I'm going to pay 2. And I'm going to play Soaring Scout. I'm going to play it directly to this battlefield since I do control it. Soaring Scout's just the 1 might, so nothing too special. But when it dies, it does have a Death Knell ability, which means that when it dies, I get to channel a rune Exhausted. So essentially, he ramps you. So as soon as he dies, you will get 1 off the top. So that's really cool. And obviously, you can see in this deck, I'm very happy to sacrifice all my characters here. So I will do something a little extra here. I'm going to pay 2. And then I am forced to recycle a yellow rune. So I will take that rune, place it under my rune deck, and I will play Call of the Week, or Call of the Week, rather. Call of the Week is a normal speed, so it can't be played in combat. It doesn't have action or reaction as a keyword, so it can only be played during my main phase. And what it says is both of us sacrifice a character, right? So I sacrifice this bird because I'm happy to do so, which will channel me an extra rune, which I'm happy to do. And that kind of covers the extra cost I paid, right? And I also get the victor effect. Thank you, Jack, for bringing that up. So because I killed a non-recruit, I also get a guy. And what did you get rid of? One of your Clockwork
Keepers.
All right, so we got rid of one of those. And then let's see. So you're currently a 4, you're a 5 right now.
One thing I should point out, I don't think it's really been relevant yet, but he only gets the bonus while attacking or defending. So technically right now he's just 3. He gets +1 from the field and then 2 from his own. But as soon as we're in combat, he'll effectively be a 5.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah, that's relevant.
If you had something that cared about my strength right now or my might.
Right. So if I have a spell that says deal 3 damage or whatever it may be, it would work because he's not currently buffed. That's a great point, Jack. Thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and use the ability of the location, which does allow me to gank, so I can move across instead of having to go back, as Jack explained earlier. So I'm going to come right across with my Cruel Patron here. I could have choose to move both, but again, I don't want to lose control of this battlefield because I want to keep my hitting card here. So I'm going to move the Patron over, and we will start a showdown. Yep. So I have first priority to play an action. I do have 3 available, but I'm going to choose to pass because I am currently bigger, and I want to wait to see if Jack has anything first. So I'll pass to you, Jack.
I do, in fact, have something. I'm going to play On Guard.
On Guard.
So it's going to give +1 might to Wielder of Water, but because he's alone, it's going to give him +2. So it's going to tie us up at 7/7.
Ooh, 7. That is very good. But unfortunately for you, Jack, I have something to say about that. So I will pay 1 and
Stupefy.
Respond to it with a Stupefy. So Stupefy, the way this works is a chain is created, right? So Jack plays the spell. The spell goes on the chain. I can react with a reaction, which Stupefy does have, which essentially places it on top, right? So Jack at that point could essentially play another one, and we could keep stacking this up, but that's pretty much all Jack can do. So now we start to resolve them from the top of the stack, right? So Stupefy will resolve. Stupefy says give something -1 and draw a card. So I would choose Wielder of Water, gives it -1, I draw a card. Then Jack's On Guard will resolve, giving it +2, which is all good, but unfortunately for Jack, it's not quite enough to get over the Patron, so he will bite the dust. So Patron will go ahead and score a point for me, so thank you, sir. And now that we have that over there, I will pay 1, activate here, get myself a little dude over here, and I believe that is all I want to do with my turn. So I pass to you, Jack.
Ready. Channel. Draw. All right, I'm going to move Clockwork Keeper in here.
Okay, so you're moving in the Keeper. Currently a 2 to my 1. You have option to place something at first. Would you like to do so?
I'm okay.
Okay, I am going to respond with something here. So I'm actually going to not quite.
Oh, you're going to kill your guy.
Yeah,
smart.
So I can respond here with this hidden card. Because I played it as a hidden, I don't have to pay its cost. Its cost only has to be paid if you play it from your hand, right? Because I paid that rune earlier, recycled it to play it hidden, it's now free, which is really awesome, right? So the only exception to free cards is if they are a spell, you have to target something in that battlefield, right? So normally if I played this from hand, it states I can kill something at any battlefield. But because it's a hidden card, you do have an extra text per the rules that it has to be at this battlefield, right? So I have a couple of options here. It says that I can kill something and its controller draws 2 cards. So I could choose to either A, target Jack's guy. He won't be able to go into combat with me, but Jack would draw 2 cards. I don't know how I feel about that. So I'd rather give Jack the point, considering that I'm a little ahead at the moment, and actually kill my own unit. And then Jack will get to score the point, but I'm going to draw 2 cards. So I'm happy with that. So this will go into my discard pile. I'm going to draw 2 cards, Jack, and you're going to score that point. Yep. All right. Anything else you got?
All right. Next, I'm going to pay 6 for Yasuo. He needs 2 green, so I'll do this for 1 and recycle this for the other.
Okay. It's big boy Yasuo.
Then I'm going to pay 2. Tap my legend, move Yasuo in here.
Very powerful. So yeah, normally Yasuo would have to wait a turn, but because of this amazing power here, you could just pay 2 and move anybody, whether they're exhausted or not. So that's very powerful.
Now that Yasuo is here, he's got 7 might. And when I attack, deal damage equal to my might to an enemy unit here.
Ooh.
So
that ability does go on the chain.
Yep.
Right. So technically speaking.
So I've got priority first, but I'm going to pass it to you so you can.
Perfect. I have nothing. I've got one measly rune left here, and Yasuo is going to have his way with me. So,
all right. So we're going to hit for 7 on your Cruel Patron.
Okay. And just a reminder, guys, this is outside of combat, right? Yasuo's effect does this, so it's very strong. Yeah. So this will die before combat even happens, right? So Cruel Patron, see you later. You did some good for me.
You do get a recruit.
I do get a recruit. Victor. Thank you very much. So this will join me here in the base.
Now we'll go to combat damage.
Right.
So you have 2. I have 7. That's going to be a pretty one-sided beatdown here.
I think 7 is more than 2. So my little recruits will hit the dust here. And Jack
And
scores
I'll
yet
go to
another point.
5.
And you can see, guys, how the game goes back and forth here, right? I was a little bit ahead. Now Jack's kind of coming back. So this game is very back and forth, which I really enjoy.
Then I'm going to move Misfortune here just to reinforce this a little bit. I
like it.
And I'll pass you.
And again, notice Jack didn't conquer again, right? He's already conquered. He's just, moving in to reinforce it, but he cannot score that battlefield again. So Jack's done all he can do. Pass it back over to me. And it's getting a little lonely here. Just Victor and a couple of recruits. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to snap back out of this, but we'll find out. So let's get 2 runes here. And I will draw for turn. All right, Jack. That's a pretty good one. It's a pretty good one. All right, so, well, how do you feel about this? I'm going to pay 3. I'm going to pay 6. I'm going to pay 7.
Oh, God. No.
I will play Unchecked Power. So Unchecked Power is a 7 cost, but it does require 2 blue runes to be recycled. So we'll take these 2 blue runes, bottom of the rune deck, and it says exhaust all my units, which I will happily do, and deal 12 damage to everything at a battlefield. So kaboom.
I just had to move the Misfortune in there.
Kaboom. So I won't be able to move these units in this turn because that would be really, really powerful if I could kill everything and then move guys in. I did have to exhaust them. However, Jack's board is now cleared, which is exactly what I needed. And I only have 2 runes left, which I can't play anything from my hand, but I will use that this legend power here to go ahead and create one more dude. I can't score this turn. Everything I have is exhausted, so I can't get in there. But I did manage to clear Jack's board. Therefore, he will not gain a hold point. So I'm happy with that. And Jack, it's your turn again.
Cemetery Attendant. So he's going to cost 3. We'll recycle this. And when I play him, I get to grab a unit out of my discard, put it back in my hand.
Oh, okay.
So I'll take Misfortune.
It's pretty good.
Then we're going to pay 4. Play Misfortune there.
And just a reminder, she can only go to the battlefield because of her effect, right?
Yep.
She can't normally move in, but she does allow herself to go straight to an empty battlefield. So
we'll go here, Showdown.
that creates a showdown, but I've got
I
nothing.
got nothing, so that'll take me to
scores a quick
6.
point. It's pretty good.
Destroyed.
Haha. Haha. Very nice.
Anything there?
I got nothing.
All right, that'll take me to 7.
Oh boy.
Your turn. I was like, I knew I had one more step to this. I just can't remember what the last part was.
So something worth mentioning. So Jack is now at 7, and as you know, the goal of the game is to get to 8. But there is a little bit of a extra step when it comes to getting that last point, right? So as Jack mentioned earlier, as he alluded to, holding is one of the ways that you can score the 8th point. So if I'm unable to take care of both of these locations this turn, and it passes back to Jack, as long as he has control of one or the other, he goes to 8 and wins the game. However, the other way that Jack can win is if he's at 7 and he's able to double conquer that same turn, right? So essentially, either holding or on the attack, conquering both locations will allow you to score that 8th point, right? So I need to make sure I get rid of both these things here if I'm going to stick around. Jack's completely exhausted on his runes, so I can be safe thinking that he's not going to be able to do something too crazy. Paying 2, and I will recycle a rune. And I will play Call the Weak. And this allows, again, I played it earlier, but we both have to sacrifice a character. I'm happy to pitch one of my recruits, and Jack has to make a big decision here. Okay, so he's going to get rid of that.
Gotta be the dog.
Gotta be the dog. So that frees up one location for me, but I still have work to do here. So let's see. I will... This goes into the discard. I will firstly move my guy in here. Jack has nothing to do, so I will gain that point, putting me to 6. And then,
Your team has
as much as I really don't want to, I'm going to have to finally put Victor to combat here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to come in here for 5 total. Jack, you're holding for 4, and you are tapped out.
So we'll trade the champions here, but your recruit...
Perfect.
Go and live.
So yeah, Jack gets to choose how he wants damage distributed. He puts all 4 of his damage on my Victor, which is enough to kill it. But that does mean the recruit sticks around and gets me that point. So I will go up to 7 as well. So now we're both at 7. However, I have some more stuff here for you, Jack. So I'm going to pay 3. And I'm going to play the Vanguard Captain. And this card says if I play it, oh, sorry, let me pay the cost. It costs an extra rune. Let's not forget that. And it has an ability called Legion. So if I played a spell or a card before it, it gets an additional effect, right? So I did play that Cole earlier. So because I played a card earlier, she makes 2 recruits wherever she is. So because she's here, I actually get 2 more dudes, which is really nice. I love that. And then to make things worse for Jack, we're going to pay 4 and we're going to play Cruel Patron straight to this location since we control it. And it's additional cost. It does require a sacrifice. So I will get rid of one of these characters I made. And I am all tapped out, Jack. Show me your moves. I've got 2 cards in hand. And you'll find that that last point is sometimes very hard to get. Sometimes it seems like, oh, I'm at 7, I'm right there, but you'd be surprised. That 8th point can be quite tricky.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be just short. Yeah, I just can't quite clear it all. Too many ones.
I'm telling you, those little robots add up. We've got 7 here, and then we have 1, 2, 3, because it gets 1 each, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 here. So 7 and 8.
Yeah, the actual like might is pretty irrelevant, to be honest. It's literally just the quantity, because like I can play Yasuo.
Okay.
I can last breath nuke the patron.
So what does the last breath do?
So I ready a friendly unit. It deals damage equal to its might to an enemy unit at a battlefield.
Oh, it's very good. So yeah, he snipes the patron out.
And then like
you could
if you didn't have this, you know what I mean? Because then I can come in here, I can nuke that and then clear the rest in combat. And like we're golden, but because of this guy, I can't do anything.
This one measly robot,
and then like home. I could do it the other way just as easily too. You know what I mean? So it's like again, the actual might numbers don't really matter so much. It's just the quantity.
The quantity of units. Yeah,
can't get past it.
Oof, super tight game.
I guess I do at least come here. We'll hit that. We'll clear everything else in the combat. I draw a card because I don't score my point, but yeah, it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, so as Jack mentioned, just something worth mentioning that if you do score a point other than a hold, and it's supposed to be the 8th point, however, you can't score that 8th point because of the rules, you do get to draw a card. So Jack drew that card, unfortunately wasn't enough there. And game 1 will go to me by a inch. I was very, very, very close. If I had 1 less unit there, Jack would have been able to come back, and it might have been a big problem for me. So
yeah, I think I just overextended that turn when I moved Misfortune out of my base into the thing for like no reason other than to just kind of try to reinforce things a bit and immediately get nuked.
The punish. All right, guys, so that's a game of Riftbound. I hope that helped you understand a little bit better here. Obviously, there's a lot more intricacies in the game, but we just wanted to give you a basic overview of how the games play out, and I hope that helps you and your friends get started. These are all proxies, so we don't own the cards yet. They're just printed out for us to enjoy. Thank you, Jack, aka Ghosty, for joining us today. But in the meantime, we'll see you around, and adios.
A summoner has disconnected.